I certainly think that the big commercial banks and potentially, the financial arm of the U.S. government think they can use Bitcoin for something that benefits them. So, just to, before I go any further, I mean, I think it's pretty clear to everyone that there's a big differentiation, even from the U.S. government's perspective, between Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, right? Gary Gensler of the SEC refers to Bitcoin as a commodity, but every other cryptocurrency is a security from the SEC's perspective. That's pretty significant. So seeing Bitcoin as like this commodity from the SEC's perspective, the only commodity in the digital currency space, they obviously want to use that to their benefit if they can, and it seems like they probably can and will.
Whitney Webb sheds light on a crucial disparity between Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies from the viewpoint of U.S. authorities, particularly the SEC's classification of Bitcoin as a commodity, which distinguishes it. This differentiation isn't merely bureaucratic language, it fundamentally influences Bitcoin's interaction with global financial systems. As we step into 2024, the cryptocurrency landscape is abuzz with activity, with the awaited approval of spot Bitcoin ETFs poised to be a game-changer. This marks a turning point for Bitcoin, potentially heralding a new era of institutional investment and widespread acceptance. However, this advancement comes with a caveat. While institutional investment promises stability and expansion, it also introduces fresh risks and dependencies. The upcoming Bitcoin halving event in April 2024 stands as another pivotal juncture. Historically, halving events have triggered price upswings, but prevailing economic conditions may disrupt this trend. These unfolding developments have the potential to reshape Bitcoin's trajectory, potentially aligning or conflicting with the government's perception of it as a commodity.
The conflict here, as I see it, is why was Bitcoin originally made? From what I have, what's been portrayed, right? It was created as a tool of financial freedom to prevent fiscal irresponsibility on the part of central banks and also commercial banks as a response to things like the 2008 financial crisis. Okay. So what happens when the same powers that Bitcoin was created to thwart start using it to continue their bad behavior? Is it still a tool for financial freedom then, or has it become a tool of the same people it was created to fight against? This is a real discussion that needs to happen in the Bitcoin space. It is happening to a degree, arguably not enough. I think a lot of people, can get kind of googly-eyed thinking like, oh, wow, what if Bitcoin goes above $200,000? Like, and all of this stuff. Like, okay, well, it's great that you might have, a higher net worth, but in a lot of the cases where like Bitcoin would be projected to reach astronomical sums, that means like the dollar and like other currencies widely in use become like insanely devalued. So like, okay, if a loaf of bread is worth like $300 because like helicopter money in the US has happened and it's like hyperinflation, and you have Bitcoin, like you might have like a lot of, it looks like you have a lot of money in your account, but in terms of purchasing power, like you basically have the same lifestyle you have now, but everyone else around you is dirt poor and has nothing. Like, is that a scenario to be like cheered on? I don't think so. Bitcoin's supposed to be ideal money, right? And a tool of financial freedom. And if we let the people that have run this insane monetary casino for decades use Bitcoin for their ends, Bitcoin will cease to be that, period. I also think there's a side effort too, and I think it's very obvious, or should be very obvious to people in the space, to criminalize privacy enhancing tools for Bitcoin transactions. They want Bitcoin transactions, those that they allow to happen, to be completely surveillable. They don't want financial privacy, which is part of this push for bank issued stable coins and deposit tokens and CBDCs, is all about knowing everything about the flow of money, how the public spends their money. They don't want you to spend $1 and them not know about it, So, I mean, that's essentially where it's headed. And to use Bitcoin, they want it to go in that direction as well. So, it's very likely, like in the event that like the dollar hyperinflates, like, people have made the case that like maybe Bitcoin will be used as a reserve asset to keep the dollar from completely imploding, like if the US is going to default on its debt, and we're like what, at like 34 trillion now. I mean, it's like completely insane, and it's not like going to be addressed, the debt problem. So obviously it will explode at some point. People have to be very cognizant of like these efforts to use Bitcoin for ends that are like not good in terms of like the original ethos of Bitcoin. So people kind of have in my opinion, have to pick a side here about like, are you going to fight to keep Bitcoin a tool for financial freedom for everybody, and to keep it being like ideal money to as a hedge against central bank and commercial bank malfeasance? Or are you going to let those same central and commercial banks use it for their ends and incorporate it into their system of complete financial control? I think it's very easy to choose what side to be on there. But some people, again, are like, ooh, the prospect of being a millionaire sounds great. But like, if you to, maintain the lifestyle you have now in a hyperinflation scenario costs $1 million, I mean, that's not great either. And if all your transactions are surveillable and all of the stuff, I mean, maybe you have more money, but like, the system they're trying to like usher in, commit a thought crime, and the DOJ will just come and seize all your Bitcoin like they do to tons of people. I mean, there's certain stuff we have to stand against, or it gets bad for everybody. It doesn't matter how much Bitcoin you hold.
Webb's observations regarding Bitcoin's foundational principles contrasted with its susceptibility to manipulation by financial giants are pivotal in today's discourse. Reflecting on Bitcoin's recent market performance, its price has experienced a notable decline to approximately $42,000, marking its lowest point in 2024. This downturn, coupled with mounting skepticism about Bitcoin's viability as a mainstream currency, serves as a stark reminder of the inherent volatility of cryptocurrencies. Furthermore, the emergence of spot Bitcoin ETFs, spearheaded by Bitwise, is reshaping the landscape, signaling a shift in market dynamics where traditional financial structures wield significant influence. These developments echo Webb's apprehensions regarding Bitcoin's potential co-option. While they offer opportunities for broader acceptance and institutional investment, they also pose the risk of veering away from Bitcoin's original purpose as a decentralized antidote to centralized financial control.
There's major efforts to like co-opt all the on and off ramps in Bitcoin. So like even in that scenario, like if you have a lot of Bitcoin, but like you can't use it or exchange it for legal tender, you'd only be able to like use it with other people that have Bitcoin, right? And so like there's a potential for that to emerge at some point, probably in certain scenarios. But as it is right now, I mean, there's an unprecedented effort by like the DOJ specifically to get like major crypto exchanges under its thumb by making them, I mean, the Binance thing is a good example, right? So like looking at Binance, what's happened
Yeah,
since
I was
the
going to ask you about
settlement.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. An insane amount of staff from the Department of Justice are surveilling every transaction that goes through Binance right now. And FinCEN has custodianship of the exchange for the next 5 years. They have all access to all of Binance's data, not just from the settlement forward, but all of their past data. So they can retroactively go and flag transactions, and the DOJ can be like, we're going to seize that wallet for X amount of Bitcoin and add it to, the DOJ's massive Bitcoin holdings, which are among the biggest in the world. Right. So you control all of these on and off ramps and surveil all of that. Like that is a major problem.
Yeah.
And I think people have to be really aware of this like big push to end online anonymity and financial anonymity, or like just privacy that I've been talking about for a long time. So like, obviously like Bitcoin has potential to be something, but if we let these people control the on and off ramps and like other major aspects of infrastructure, like maybe Bitcoin itself is immutable, but they plan to do everything in their power to prevent it from being something that takes a big chunk of their power away. Some people are naive about how far these people will go, but you should not be. Like these are people that do not want to cede their power to anybody, and they're very accustomed to stealing from us. And they don't plan to stop stealing, so, I mean, people need to be really aware of that, and and fight to keep Bitcoin to be something that is empowering and a tool for freedom and financial freedom. Because if enough people get too googly eyed about the value going up and pumper bags and all of this stuff, I mean, there's a lot of damage could be done. And I mean, I wish I had more like positive stuff to say about it, but I mean, it's not like the battle is lost. Like, I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to say is people need to be really aware that there are major efforts to co-opt. Like, maybe there's aspects of it, sure, that like can't be co-opted, but in a practical sense, like for regular people, it can be co-opted. Yeah. And there's when you have groups like BlackRock and all this stuff trying to get in on it, that should be a red flag that like they think they can co-opt it.
Webb highlights the substantial endeavors to govern Bitcoin's entry and exit points, a pivotal factor shaping its trajectory. The resolution of prominent bankruptcies like FTX and Celsius represents a watershed moment in crypto history, accelerating the global drive for more stringent cryptocurrency regulations. The conclusion of these narratives in 2024 not only signifies the end of chapters but also heralds the dawn of a new era of regulatory frameworks. This aligns with Webb's admonitions regarding the necessity for vigilance against attempts to control and regulate Bitcoin. The evolving landscape of crypto regulations, particularly in the US and Europe, is poised to redefine the operational environment of digital currencies. As these regulatory structures solidify, they will exert influence on the functioning of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies within the broader financial ecosystem. In summary, the crypto world finds itself at a crucial crossroads. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these 2 awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.